What you're about to hear is part of the Podgods Network. If you have a problem with anything you hear, please write it in an email and go fuck yourself. Enjoy the show.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Salty Language presents The Enthusiast.
Hey everybody, this is Brian, and with me as always is Tony.
Hello.
And joining us today is Ryan Browne, the creator, artist, writer, whatever you want to call him, photographer now, for the book we've talked about a decent amount on the show, God Hates Astronauts. And right now he has a Kickstarter up for another fun creation of his, which was Blast Furnace. So first of all, hi Ryan, how are you?
Is this is where I say hello?
Yeah.
Okay,
If
hello.
you want.
Hello.
Sorry, I just stomped all over you on the other part.
No. I love hearing you talk about me, so say whatever you want.
Well then, you guys can't see him, but exotic gentleman, clearly avid workout fan.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right.
Collector of green aerosol cans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you need something to be to help with the creative process.
Yeah. I like to huff insect spray while I make stuff up.
Pet
Don't
friendly.
we all?
Pet friendly, of course, though. Because...
By make stuff up, I mean like make my bed and make dinner. That kind of making up.
Wow.
Not inventing things.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, huffing certainly helps all that.
What's the secret to your success? Huffing insect spray.
No, just huffing in general. No puffing, just huffing.
That's fair. Well, you don't want to blow any houses down or anything. I mean,
No,
in fairness, you know, yeah. I forgot I was going to throw this out there just for those listening. There may be various train sounds that go on behind Ryan during the interview. So if you hear something weird, it's either that or one of us is just making weird sounds.
Oh, it sounds like my family just walked in. They sound like a train, too. So.
Really? Oh, my gosh. Your family is a bunch of trains?
I know, it's crazy.
Amazing. That's a great story idea.
Yeah,
I
Pixar
married
just...
into the Transformer family.
I was going to say Pixar just optioned Tony's life, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll cry by the end.
I'd love to meet your lovely wife, Astro Train. I'm sure she's wonderful. No, but I have train noises because I'm homeless and I live under the tracks, which is where I get all of my ideas and all of my stuff to huff.
That actually lines up pretty well. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
I hope someone's listening and working on your Wikipedia as we speak.
Oh my gosh! Can I just make a fake Wikipedia and just have it be like really, 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 really long? Like who? What level of fact checking is there with Wikipedia?
I honestly don't know.
Since I'm not like a famous celebrity, can someone make a Wikipedia for me that's like extremely long and incredibly fake? Then only I would know that it was fake because I'm me. Can that happen?
I would think it could happen, yeah.
They're pretty quick on the draw. Because at one time we had a third host that she used to live in the same neighborhood as
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman. So I added it to his Wikipedia while we were recording, and within 10 minutes they took it out.
Yeah.
Because he didn't? Was it a lie?
No, it was true.
Yeah.
But I guess I have no facts to back it up.
I agree. They could have at least fact checked it, but
Yeah.
No, they just immediately were like, and took it down.
This is clearly a lie.
Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's a really sad story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gets me all depressed thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. This interview is over.
Nice job, Tony. We got to like 5 minutes.
It's a record.
Our longest one yet, yeah. So, do you want to, can you tell us about or tell the listeners, whatever, about your Kickstarter that's going on for Blast Furnace?
Sure. I can do that. Blast Furnace is a comic that I started in 2012. And I had gotten hired to do a book called Smoke and Mirrors for IDW. That was the least silly, least funny book ever. and I like drawing silly and funny books. So Blast Furnace was my side project to keep myself fulfilled in the silly funny stuff department. So it is a book that I conceived of because I was doing a full-time book. I didn't have much time to work on it, so I decided that I would only spend at maximum an hour on each page, and that would include writing it, penciling it, inking it, lettering it. I would start with a blank page, and an hour later, I'd have a finished page of comic story. But then I decided that, instead of scripting anything, that I would just make it all up on the fly. So it was just it was just totally an outlet for doing silliness and dark humor stuff that I really love doing. So I set it out to do it for a year and to do a page a day for a year. And then I changed that to a page a day, 5 days a week for a year because it was tough to find time on the weekends. And I actually drew some of the early pages while drunk, which they turned out terrible because it was like Saturday night and it was like 11:30 and I'm like, oh man, I didn't do my page today, and then I'd have to do it like that and it was terrible. So I changed it to 5 days a week, and I did it I was going to do it for a year, and then after 6 months nobody was reading it, so I quit. So I've done like 130 pages. And I think it's pretty good stuff. It's pretty funny. And the art is questionable, but it's kind of funny. So I put out, it was the first Kickstarter I did in 2012, I think, the fall of 2012, or maybe it was early 2013. I collected all the black and white, 6 issues worth. I was breaking it into an issue a month for 12 months. And I collected them and did a Kickstarter for that, and it did really well, and it's kind of had its own small following. And then when I started working more on God Hates Astronauts, the people that had read Blast Furnace always like it more than God Hates Astronauts, which I don't know what that says about me, that when I work really hard on planning everything out, it's not as good as when I just crap it out in an hour. So, but I had this problem that it was still really hard to get people to read it, even if they were fans of mine, because it was black and white, and the visuals are not super stunning. So I decided, when I got done with I just finished God Hates Astronauts for Image, doing 10 monthly issues, which was extremely hard and super killer on me personally, just working so much and being so focused on it. Everything around me didn't get attended to while I was working for this year because it was so much work to write, draw, and design and put out this comic every month. So as a vacation for myself, I said I'm going to return to something that's easy and no pressure and work on Blast Furnace again. So I've been working on Blast Furnace again, and I'm doing 132 new pages, just about done. And then I'm putting everything, the old 130 pages plus the new 132 pages, I'm putting that all together now in full color so that it presents better, it looks more finished. And the color is pretty simple. I color each page in a half hour or less, and the color is really simple, but it makes it look so much more finished. So I'm hoping that people can actually really start to read Blast Furnace. So the final book is almost 280 pages. And it's on Kickstarter, and that was my really long answer to your question.
That was exactly what we're looking for, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, because of us, reading God Hates Astronauts, I saw, on one of the pages, it's visit, I forgot your website now. Is it GodHatesAstronauts.com? Okay. And then I saw the link to Blast Furnace, and I went to that and I started reading it, and I read, I don't know how far into it. I read good ways into it, and I was like, I don't know how I've never heard of this before. I really dig this. I don't know why. It's nice to find that kind of stuff that you haven't heard of before, but it's I've never heard anyone talk about this before. That's why when I saw your Kickstarter for it, and I was like, but we've been wanting to have you on the show anyway because we, love the God Hates Astronauts that we're more familiar with, but we thought, anything we could do maybe to, shine 3 more people at your Kickstarter would help.
Sure.
So
yeah.
That's salty language bump.
Yeah.
Ew. So gross.
Yeah. Thinking about it, it does sound pretty gross, Tony.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh man, that's gross.
Yeah, the rewards that you have for the book, we've enjoyed looking through the rewards because of the cover with the picture of your cat Simon on it, which is an awesome picture. The T-shirt, it's a slick looking T-shirt, and you even went as far as to plan out an action figure for for it. I mean, and you have original art. Was it You Can Appear in the Book, I think, was one of them, isn't it? One of the higher end ones, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just, you seem to put a lot of really good thought into, cool rewards for people pledging for it, so.
It's got to help, for sure.
Yeah, I think it does. My last Kickstarter was for a hardcover edition of God Hates Astronauts, and that did extremely well. But what happens when a Kickstarter does extremely well and goes way past the scope of where you think it would go is that then it ruins your life through the fulfillment process.
Fair enough.
It was the God Hates Astronauts Kickstarter. I mean, 4,000 pounds of books showed up to my studio.
Oh, man.
And it was 3 months. I hired a guy that works at a local comic shop, and just 3 months of full time working really hard to fulfill that. So for Blast Furnace, I decided to streamline a lot of it, and make it so that it's, I guess, not shoot to do that explosively as I did with the last one, but have it be more modest and more the focus on making this book and less of a focus on this is something that's going to take all of my time to do the back end of it. Right. Because when I'm fulfilling the God Hates Astronauts, the year that God Hates Astronauts came out through Kickstarter, the hardcover, I produced the least amount of art of my professional career during that year because I spent so much time working with that book. So for the new Kickstarter, I tried to scale everything back and tighten everything up so that it wasn't such a nightmare of... the last one I had 39 backer levels. This one I've got, 20-some. But most of them are things that can be kind of hands-off. So, yeah, I'm just trying to find the sweet spot on all of this.
Yeah.
Where it's not so successful that it's exploding everything. And it is successful enough to get funded.
Right.
So it's it was a different approach for me, and I'm still sitting here being well, it's really not making as much money as God Hates Astronauts did, and I'm but that's a good thing. This is what we wanted. This is what we wanted all along, was to hit our goal comfortably, and then the people who are interested in it are interested in it, and then at the end, I've got my book. I've got all these copies of my book that are completely paid for through Kickstarter. Right. Because Kickstarter is, a lot of people get confused that Kickstarter is a charity, and it's not a charity. It's designed for a pre-order system.
Right.
You're called backers, and what you're doing is you're pre-ordering the book. So you're putting your money up front so you can get the book later, and that's the whole model of it. There are other crowdfunding things that are just say, give me money so I can make this comic.
Yeah.
The Kickstarter is based around give me money for this book ahead of time, and then I can make it.
Right.
So that really is my goal with this, and I hit it, and so now I'm going to have a bunch of books that I can sell to people over the coming years.
Right, which is awesome. Yeah, I had never thought of about that before, about how fulfilling the back end of it, taking you away from, doing other artwork and whatnot. So even if you see someone do really well on Kickstarter, they still could essentially, bring in less revenue across a year.
Oh yeah,
because you're doing less of your other work.
Yeah, yeah, and this Kickstarter, my goal of 15,000 covered the printing, the shipping of the books to me, the packaging and shipping of the books out to everyone else, and then with the Kickstarter fees and all that kind of stuff, and then I've got to pay taxes on anything that I make, obviously,
right.
I'm selling a book. So like the money that you can actually make on a Kickstarter, it's difficult for people who are following you because they think that you're making a ton of money.
Yeah.
In actuality, every time you sell a book, so when I hit my goal of 15,000, every book that I sell over 15,000 still has costs. So every order. So it's like this really interesting model that feels to people that there's some transparency, that they can see how much money you're making, but there's also a lack of transparency that they don't understand where the money is really going.
Yeah, they don't see all the overhead.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So like on this new book, I did it as a soft cover because the last one was a hardcover and it's 180 pages. This one's a soft cover and it's 280 pages. And they ended up weighing the soft cover, thicker soft cover versus the hardcover ended up weighing about the same. And of course, when your things have weight, they are hard to carry and expensive to ship. And but already, I'm getting lots of requests that I should make this new book into a hardcover based on as a stretch goal. Yeah. But of course, everything gets multiplied by how many books you have. So right now I have like 550 books that I've sold. And if I made it a hardcover and it cost me like $3 per book more to make a hardcover, that's $1,500 right there that I'm reinvesting in the book. And then how heavy it is means how much more my shipping is going to be per order. So it's crazy. It's like, I don't know. I like doing Kickstarters because it's a puzzle,
Yeah.
It's like just figuring out where all the money's going to go and making sure you don't screw yourself over.
Right. I like that. I like that. Like you're talking about it because a lot of people don't realize those kind of things. And you're right. They see that money. And I've heard people before. Like I can't remember. Was it you or was it someone else who? I can't remember something I read from you or someone else that when they did something that they actually did the math a little wrong and they realized that on one of their Kickstarters they were losing money because they didn't figure enough in for shipping.
It wasn't me.
Okay.
I mean, but that happens a lot.
Yeah, that's...
and international shipping rates are very, very high.
Oh, yeah, they are.
And so that's where you can really bury yourself. Because if you have 300 international orders and you undercut by $10 what you need to ship it, then that's $3,000 that is going to eat into your profit.
Right.
There's a lot of preparation that has to go into it. I mean, just stuff that you just have to think a little bit,
Yeah.
Right.
That's really what it takes, and people have gotten in trouble a lot with it. But for me, I like it as like a legitimate source for getting the books I want to get made and getting them out to people.
Yeah.
And I would love to continue to do Kickstarters, and so part of that pushes me to do the bulk of the work on the book ahead of time before I even launch Kickstarter, and then as soon as it's done, sending it to the press and then fulfilling it as fast as possible. And this Kickstarter for the new Blast Furnace Kickstarter funded within 8 hours, which was faster than God Hates Astronauts did, even though God Hates Astronauts made $75,000. It funded in 8 hours, which was less than half the time of God Hates Astronauts. And a lot of it was because it was pre-existing Kickstarter backers who had backed my other stuff. And so I opened up this new Kickstarter with all the special rewards an hour early for anyone that's backed my Kickstarter before. Sent them all the messages, and then it just,
oh, that's cool.
got fulfilled really quickly.
I didn't even know you could do that. That's awesome.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So it's like building this kind of trust thing that I'm going to actually make this book, and then you're actually going to get it, and then hopefully you like it, and then you'll join me on whatever book is next.
Oh, okay.
But the interesting thing about all of this is that the part where Kickstarter is difficult for the future of comics is that building enough money into it so you're actually getting paid for your time.
Mm-hmm.
Like the $15,000 on Blast Furnace is just covering costs of the actual book,
right?
And it's not paying me anything. And I've put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Right. Not to mention the back end hours of shipping this stuff out.
Right.
Yeah.
So the idea with me is that I have this book that's completely paid for through pre-orders. So when I sell a $20 book at a comic show, I'm making $20.
Right.
And so it's like having a bunch of these books out there can slowly kind of keep me financially okay.
Right.
Which is like it's a long game, to make an entire book, fulfill the Kickstarter, and then start selling them at shows, and then you're making the money.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Huh. I like it.
yeah. Sorry, I don't know if you guys wanted to talk about all the business.
No.
We
actually
can tell a bunch of jokes.
It's very interesting.
It's really funny because we actually do. It's something like we've talked to a few people that are in the comics industry, and each one, like, as we always kind of try to dig into the business a little bit, and just because I kind of like that curtain being pulled back a little bit because. Yeah. As much as people gripe about this and this at times about stuff, it's like, hey, you're not seeing the whole picture here. Like you said, someone could look at any money you've raised on Kickstarter and go, well, look at old, he's rolling in it, and you're like, well, hold on, a lot of that's going out in this and this, and that kind of a thing. So I it's just, I think it's kind of nice to keep your perspective on stuff.
It's an industry that is. There's very little money in comics, and there's very little understanding of how the money works in comics.
Yeah.
When I ended God Hates Astronauts after 10 issues, a lot of my fans were really shocked by it.
Yeah.
But the reality is that I did issues 6 through 10 for no money because it was just making enough sales to cover my colorist, the letterer, if I had a cover artist, and then the image fees and the printing fees.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, so I was, busting my ass for no money.
Right. Whereas, I would, as a reader, I would assume that the book's doing pretty decent getting to, past, 6 issues or so, because I've read various series where, I'll be reading it, after issue 5 or 6, there's something in the back that's like, sorry, our sales aren't good enough, and there's no more coming. And you're like, oh, all right. You just...
Yeah.
So, I didn't even know that... Wow. Okay.
It's so it's just... Yeah. The industry is interesting because people are trade waiting a lot now.
Yeah.
Which is okay for books that are more successful, but for books like mine, it's just nail in the coffin.
Yeah, you need the individual issue sales.
You need the individual issue sales to be at a certain level to keep the book going, for the book to pay for itself.
Yeah,
to pay all the creators that are working on it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't really understand that. And the other thing that people don't really understand is how important pre-orders are, which is it's kind of. The system itself has a lot of issues because you can't really expect your fans to pre-order every book that they want.
Yeah.
But stores order their books based on how many they think they can sell. And if you put it on your pull list at your shop, that's a sale they know they can make. So let's say they get 4 people putting this on their pull list. Maybe they think, all right, well, if 4 people want it, maybe I'll get 8 and have 4 on the rack, 4 on...
Yep.
Whatever,
Yep.
And all of those orders are determine how many get printed. So having pre-orders means it can up the amount that you get printed, and the more you get printed, obviously, the better your book can do.
Okay,
because the cost of printing each issue is very, 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 very small. So, in comics, when books sell out, that's actually a bad thing. It's fun. My first issue sold out.
Yeah.
Actually, every issue of God Hates Astronauts sold out. Which means that there are people that want it that can't get it.
Right.
So that's what that means.
Which means you're missing potential sales. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
Especially on an issue number 1.
Yeah.
Because that issue sells out, it has to go back for a second printing. So maybe next week or 2 weeks later, it's on the shelf. And is that person going to remember that they wanted that?
Yeah.
Or are they going to want a second printing because it's not as valuable? And thus, they're not buying your monthly books because I don't have issue 1, so why am I going to buy 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah.
I'll just wait for the trade.
Yep.
And then when they wait for the trade money happens and it helps the book. But you don't get it for a very long time.
I was kind of wondering about that because, the what seems to be the current process with trades is 5 issues and then the trade, or 4 issues and then the trade. Somewhere from 4 to 6 and then a trade comes out. There's usually a slight hiatus on the book and then they come back,
Sure.
And I was like 4 or 5 issues, I can wait 4 or 5 months to get a trade, kind of a thing. Whereas I remember trades didn't used to come out as fast as they come out, it seems anyway.
Yeah.
And it used to feel like you had to wait like a year before a trade came out or something. And by then you were like, man, it's so, I would always go back and buy the single issues because I would, I didn't want to wait that long. Now it's not that long of a wait. It kind of reminds you of movies, you
Sure.
see something in the theater and you're like, I'll wait for DVD on it, or I'll download it when it comes, or stream it or whatever, so. Because
I think the idea originally was that you didn't want to undercut the retailer who had bought all the issues.
Right.
You didn't want the trade to come out too soon because you wanted to be able to move those issues. But now there are people that buy both.
Yeah.
Issues and trades, and then there are people that buy only trades. So it's catering to different types of buyers.
Right.
But, I still think the stores get stuck with single issues because of how fast the trades come out. But the trades sell so much better than they used to sell. Which is why all these books can create their own books. If you get a create your own book that hits, you can do really, really well because, you've got that trade in circulation, you keep it in print, and then you get paid every 6 months from Image, or I don't know how other companies do it.
Yeah.
And you can do that forever as long as it's in print. Just getting to that point, which is why I didn't quit after my first 5 issues of God Hates Astronauts, because I wanted to have, another trade out there.
Sure. Yeah, because that allowed you to get 2 trades out of the run, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so then hopefully, like, the trade got delayed. There was a weird communication error, so it's coming out in December. But so then hopefully having that trade out there, 3 years from now, I might get a check, and then 4 years from now, I might get a check. And so it's like having these books that are in circulation that you can, help support your life so that you can make more books later on.
Right.
Right.
Now, talking about God Hates Astronauts, it was when that book came out and just reading the first issue and the way you named a lot of the stuff, the onomatopoeia that you did with the various stuff.
That's my favorite.
Oh, my God, man. Like, we would, like, and I'm not going to lie, it was the weeks that it came out, it was almost always the first book that I read. Because I knew that I was going to crack up at it or whatever, and I love books like that. I've always loved just, books that kind of come out of nowhere with their sense of humor and stuff, when Tony and I worked in a comic shop when we were in high school. We owned a comic shop for a couple of years, so we've always kind of been around stuff, and back in those days, that's why, like, the first time I picked up, like, Milk and Cheese, I was like, this is insane. It's unlike any other book on the, it's violent, it's dark. And that's what I loved about God Hates Astronauts was it was really violent. It was dark, Like, I didn't know at the time you had already done a previous volume of it. So I went and got that and read that, and oh man, we've recommended it enough times. I don't know if anyone's listened, but I hope so, because I enjoyed the whole run. I'm sad that it's over, but right. It was a very, very fun and good time to read. So.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. It was really fun to make, and I have a lot of ideas left.
Yeah.
So, if the trades continue to sell, then hopefully I can come back and do some more, or do a new mini series, or do something with it, because I certainly am not finished with it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Thanks, though. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. It's part of why. Like, I think it was around us reading issue 1 that I first contacted you, because I was like, we got to talk to this guy, because I just want to like. I love the sense of humor in the books. And then, like I said, after I went back and read Blast Furnace, it wasn't. I was like, okay, this isn't just like a one-off thing, to where he's just like, I got some weird ideas, I'm going to throw them into one book. It's like you can tell you really dig, doing that kind of stuff, like you've already, mentioned to us. But that was, yeah. So
yeah, well, cool. Yeah, I the God Hates Astronaut stuff is, yeah. I mean, doing it as a monthly book was really, really hard, but it also was really, really rewarding. I mean, with that book, the people that got it really got it, and that's awesome to me.
Yeah.
And really appreciate. Like, I tried to make each issue as dense as possible. Mm-hmm. With fake ads and fake quotes and all that kind of stuff.
And I loved all that stuff. That stuff was fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks.
It kind of reminded you of like Mad Magazine kind of a feel where sometimes they would, or not sometimes, they always had the ad parodies and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the great things about Image is that you get 32 pages to do whatever you want. So I just did whatever I wanted. And, it's part of why it was so laborious having to design those things and come up with those gags, but also like writing the inside credit page, like fake nicknames, and then writing the back cover quotes those were my favorite parts of the book.
Yeah.
which is strange to say because it was just silly and it wasn't like labor intensive,
Right. But that was like when we talked about the book on our podcast, we were always like, make sure you read everything in the book because there's jokes pretty much everywhere in this book. Don't skip over little things that look like a sound effect or whatever, because a lot of times that's where a joke might be buried, or or you would have an ongoing joke with the sound effects, or that kind of stuff, or you'd miss a 3D ghost somewhere in there, and or when you had was it Charles? How do you say his last name? Is it Soule or?
I like. How else do you think you say it?
I've heard Soule, Soule, and Soule. Those are the 3 that I've heard.
Soule. I like Soule.
Yeah, Soule sounds the best, but
it's Soule.
Soule? Okay.
Soule, see. I'm Ryan Browne, and he's Charles Soule. We
okay.
both have these confusing silent E's at the end of our names that make people pronounce them Soule or Brownie. I like that. I like Soule.
Yeah, Soule, right?
I'm hosting the creators spotlight panel on Charles Soule at Baltimore Comic-Con. So I will definitely call him Charles Soule.
Awesome.
Please do.
Tell him to feel free to contact us and we can have him on to discuss it.
Yeah. Find it out.
Oh, man.
Well, what got you into comic books? I mean, just didn't want to have, a 9-to-5, unfortunately, like I have.
Well, I mean, I didn't mind having a 9-to-5. I really just want to make movies, really. And I don't know how to make movies, but I know how to draw. So that's basically, I mean, I don't know. It's that whole thing about making your hobby your profession kind of thing.
Right.
And it's crazy hard to do. Like, I guess if I could talk to myself and back in high school, I would tell myself to pursue this, but maybe not. I don't know.
Like, you should pursue this, but it's really going to suck for a while.
Yeah, it's going to suck. Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, I'm at this point now where if it weren't for Kickstarter and the direct market to my fans, I would have my day job back,
Yeah.
And I kind of pushed Blast Furnace out the door for the Kickstarter faster than I should have, because I needed to have some sort of income source, even if it's, not great, something, because comics work really, really slow.
Yeah.
And you do a series for Image, they want, 3 issues done before they launch it, and then you don't get paid for your first issue sale until 2 months after it comes out. So you're talking about a job where at times you can work 6-7 months with no money for money in the future.
Wow.
And that's just how it works at this point. Comics aren't big enough to sustain everybody getting paid huge chunks of money in advance to make their books. I mean, a lot of people do get that, but it's the people that are, have been working in it for 15, 20 years that they know can sell books.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's comics. Sorry, I got really into like business and industry stuff.
Oh no, it's fine. Do you I know a lot of times like you wouldn't be able to talk about it anyway, but do you have something planned for after Blast Furnace at this point?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Mr. Soule and I have been working on stuff off and on, so we'll see if we can get something to work. I'm doing a short for the Marvel Secret Wars 2 parody book.
Okay.
That's about Daredevil, the bear without fear. That I'm pretty proud of. And then I'm doing a short for Dark Horse Presents. That was an idea I had that I've wanted to do for a long time. Are you guys aware of Jules Schwartz and his penchant for putting gorillas on the covers of comics?
No.
You know about this?
Uh-uh.
This is it's like a Silver Age kind of stuff. But Jules Schwartz was an editor for DC, and he found that if you put a gorilla on the cover of your comic book, it sells better. It doesn't matter if there's a gorilla in the comic book. So if you look it up, you can look up like gorilla. I think there's like a Wikipedia page for gorillas in comics or something, and there's just all these crazy covers that just have gorillas on them doing whatever. There's one awesome one of a gorilla robbing a library, and the gorilla's like holding a revolver and a stack of books that he's gonna use to like learn about, I don't know, how to be a smart gorilla.
Well, he's gonna go to school, so get an education, so he doesn't have to rob libraries anymore.
Yeah. So I'm doing an 8-page short called "There's a Gorilla on the Cover," and every page is a cover.
Nice.
of a series, and they will all read together in some sort of story about gorillas.
Oh,
so.
Cool. I will definitely check that out because
I just
I'm
had
sold
to
just
Google
by
that.
what you told me. So yeah,
There's an exceptional amount of gorillas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Somebody should bring that back. Like, what's going on?
I'm working on it.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, sorry. I mean, you should bring that back.
Yeah.
We'll edit that later. No. Oh man, that's awesome. Do you so you prefer working like through the image system, like doing your own stuff, or because I don't know, is the paycheck, I guess, more guaranteed if you do Marvel or DC type work? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Image you get paid based on what your book does.
Right.
The sales directly reflect how much money you make off of it.
Okay.
Which can be extremely awesome and lucrative. Can also be really tough for the small books. If you pay attention, you'll notice that Image puts out tons of books that disappear after 5 to 10 issues. It happens all the time.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's usually not by design.
Yeah.
It's just they just didn't hit.
Yeah,
they couldn't afford making them. So
that's kind of what I was mentioning earlier. Like when you said you stretched God Hates Astronauts to 10, and I can't remember the name of the book now. Shoot, was it The Resurrectionists or something like that? I think it was. It was kind of like this group that they cycle, and they were like kind of like immortal. And when they die, their stuff goes into another body in the future, and then they have to all be. I don't remember the term for it, but they kind of have to be made aware that they're part of this group, and they're trying to take down some, villain the whole time, kind of a thing. And it only got partway through the run, and I was like, it's kind of an interesting, different read. And then out of nowhere, they were like, they're like, hey, sales aren't good enough, and I'm like, wow, that sucks, And there it is. That's the end of it, because obviously, they're not going to go through and do all that work and not. You can't do all that work for free just to put it up on a website or something. It's,
right. Sure.
Yeah, it's a shame. I hate seeing. I've had that 3 or 4 times. I think in the last year and a half, I've seen books just like you said, just go poof halfway through where you think they're going to.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. I mean, one of the big issues with the comics is they are so labor intensive. Mm-hmm. It takes so much time. You can't, and especially the way that people expect things on a monthly basis. Which, the serialization and the monthly basis is what gives you the money to continue to work on them.
Right.
But also, if you don't hit that deadline, people forget about you pretty quickly. Mm. And retailers won't put their faith in the book if it's, late.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So it's a really strange system. With my book, issue 9 was delayed by like 2 weeks, and issue 10 was delayed by 2 weeks. 10 was delayed because it was full 32 pages of story. So it was, but other than that, everything was on time.
Yeah.
Which was like a really big deal for me to make sure that if I was going to lose sales, it was going to be because they don't like my book, not because it's not there.
Okay. Yeah. That's,
right.
Sure.
So I think from that experience, that went really well. And it's also like when I look at over the course of the last year, and I drew 230, 40 pages of God Hates Astronauts, which is like an incredible output for me based on, where I have been. Wow. Yeah, I don't know what my point is here, but
oh, man. So out of curiosity, like who were your influences, like as you were kind of getting more and more interested in drawing and comics and all that stuff?
Well, Rob Schraub from Scud.
Yeah.
A lot of the 90s, late 80s indie stuff, Milk and Cheese and The Tick, that I really, really spoke to me, the kind of counterculture to boring old superheroes. Because that was counterculture to, at the time, superheroes all of a sudden had to be real people and very serious, which I think is a totally misguided direction to take characters that are ridiculous in nature.
Yeah.
Like right. Batman, is ridiculous.
Right.
It makes no sense that a billionaire is running around in a suit, beating up muggers, and rapists. Like, that's what he does instead of, actual social reform with his finances,
right.
But he's a genius billionaire. He should know that just running around beating up a mugger and arresting him is probably, like, not going to improve the problem of crime in Gotham City very much. I don't know.
No, I'm totally with you. I totally.
Who needs more money for mental health services?
Yeah,
just
right?
beat everyone up. But so when you start making a lot of those characters into real people, they just don't make any sense. It's just really silly. I like playing with that kind of idea, and I've always gravitated towards comics that have a sense of fun.
Yeah.
Jeff Darrow has always been one of my all-time favorites. Right. So that's a lot of my influences, and a lot of movies. Like the Coen Brother movies are great element. Great experiences of storytelling, and I take a lot of what they do and try to use it in my comics. Obviously not with the impact that they do, but in terms of just having fun with telling story. Those are my main influences.
Oh, cool.
Well, what's your favorite Coen Brother movie now? I got to know.
Oh, it's impossible. That is like which of these children is my favorite. I mean, on a given day, it's Miller's Crossing, but then it could also be No Country for Old Men, or Fargo. I mean,
just depends on your mood.
Difficult. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Right.
You gotta love people that film every movie they make like it's a horror movie. There's just something about
that's true. Yeah.
How the tension that they always have in their movies, even when it's silly. Like Raising Arizona is a scary movie. It is.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's shot very much like Evil Dead at times. Like it is a scary movie, but it's a silly comedy.
Right.
And I really like the kind of emotional impact their comedy can have because we are a little bit on edge. So yeah, I mean, and that's not something that I can ever really hope to replicate in my comics, but something that I love about their movies.
Do you ever think about turning your stuff into like animated? Because it's a very Adult Swim feel to your books, you know.
Yeah, I would love that. I mean, that would be really exciting for me. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. The day is still young, my friend.
Yeah, we actually a couple weeks ago we talked with Evan Dorkin and talked to him a little bit about his Adult Swim experience and and being optioned and that kind of stuff. And it was kind of like the Kickstarter thing, to where when people hear you've been something of yours has been optioned, they go, "Oh, you're a big roller now," and you're like. Yeah. No, not really. It's actually a pretty low-end thing. So,
for sure. Like, if I wanted to be a big roller, I would have gone into, like, I don't know, some sort of mortgage investment banker, electrician, doctor man job.
Now it sounds like you're a comic book hero.
So don't forget about beating up muggers.
Right.
Yeah. That's right. If I really wanted money, I'd just go beat up a bunch of muggers.
Yeah.
Because they've got tons of money because they just mugged a bunch of people.
It's true.
Or you
gotta wait till they've mugged.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, you just go mug them. All right, yeah.
It all makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's like, all right, you had the anti-mugger in your book, but now you're the mugger.
The mugger.
That's a good character.
Yeah, it's just kind of tough to say, but I was going to say,
I
or
have
you
my
just
purse back, mugger. No, I need to fund this operation.
I like the idea of the muggy thanking the mugger.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you stopped him, you got my purse back, and then he just runs away with her purse.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
No, I'm not giving this back to you. I want it.
Yeah.
Don't you understand?
Jeez.
Why would I give you your money back? I've got it now.
Oh, man.
Taking food out of my children's mouths.
Yeah.
Right.
How dare you? Yeah. Oh, man, that'd be great.
Oh, silly.
Yeah.
What else do you guys want to talk about?
Well, what got you into? I mean, not as a job, but as like an avid reader of comics as a kid. What comic book did you first pick up?
Daredevil. I really liked Daredevil as a kid.
Yeah.
That's not one that you hear many people say.
Right? Yeah. I don't know why. I really like Disney Adventures. Do you remember Disney Adventures? It was like this. It was a monthly little digest magazine.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it would have like little stories for kids and stuff. But then it would also have like sequential comics about like DuckTales and Rescue Rangers and stuff like that.
Right.
And then it would have weird stuff like Evan Dorkin did stuff for Disney Adventures. It would have some like weird, kind of off-kilter comic artists doing stuff, but for kids.
Yep.
So yeah, I read that at a very early age, and then like Calvin and Hobbes. I loved like the cartoon strips and I think that's a lot of it. I didn't really get into comics like actively reading them. Like I would collect some and stuff because I was a little kid, and I would read. I'd always get Wizard magazine because I liked looking at the art.
Yeah,
right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I started really reading in high school. With a bunch of friends, and I really started getting into comics, and I just, started reading a bunch of dark stuff and indie stuff, and
Well, it's cool that you were able to get access to that stuff, because I know, like, when we talked with Evan last time, I was telling him how hard it was around here to find any of that stuff. You know, like 8-Ball or Stray Bullets or Milk and Cheese or any of that stuff was so hard to find. So
mine was all from comic shows. I mean, pretty early on, like freshman year of high school, maybe. Just a group of like 5 or 6 of us, and we would, there was 2 big. I'm from the Detroit area, and there was 2 big comic shows in Michigan that would happen every year.
Yep.
One of which is gone, and one of which has kind of become the Motor City Comic Con.
Right.
But yeah, we would go there and we would just get, bootleg anime tapes and, obscure comics and, so that's where most of it came from. Do you guys know the comic writer Mike Costa?
I know the name. Yeah, it's familiar. I'm trying to...
He's currently writing God is Dead for Avatar. He's written Transformers. He's written a couple Marvel things. He wrote G.I. Joe Cobra for IDW, which is a really good spy espionage series. It's not silly and G.I. Joey. It's like really dark, good espionage stuff. But he's been my best friend since we grew up. So we grew up, and his dad had his dad was collecting since he was a little kid, and he had like X-Men 1, Hulk 1, entire runs of these books, and they had them all in their basement. And so I didn't used to read that stuff, but Mike used to read all of that stuff. He'd read all his father's comics, and then he'd kind of teach me about comics, I guess.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, we're definitely familiar with like the area. Like we're from Toledo, Ohio. So, we're right by the Michigan border. We live in Michigan now, just over the border. But so yeah, we definitely know like Motor City Con,
the region.
Yeah, we were actually we were gonna go this year and try to set up some interviews with people, but things didn't work out. We had other stuff that popped up the same weekend, of course. So, because I think I saw that you were. Did you do it this year?
I was supposed to, and then I had to have some surgery on a torn muscle, which was awesome. So I didn't go.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Sounds like it. All right.
So I did not go.
All right.
But next year, I will be there with my surgically repaired muscle, and it will be awesome.
Better enhance your mugging skills.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, I'm super strong now.
Right. Yeah. Sure, I'll post for pictures with you.
Yeah.
Stealing wallets all day.
It's like that movie Rookie of the Year where he breaks his arm and then he could throw the ball 120 miles an hour for some reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
But just like, not that.
Yeah, I was going to say if you had a 120 mile an hour heater, I'm pretty sure I'd be seeing you on SportsCenter right now.
Yeah,
because somebody would give you a look.
Gosh, I should just intentionally break my arm just to see if that happens.
You got to step on a baseball and fall
I'll
off
just
on your
step
shoulder.
on a baseball. I'll just try it. It worked once. It could maybe work again.
You go into the doctor or the surgeon or whatever, and they're like, you don't know how many times I've seen this. Like, I get it. You've seen Rookie of the Year. Like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, man. And back in 1991, I'd get one of these a week.
Yeah.
Watch this documentary about this baseball kid, and
documentary.
Figured I'd try it.
Oh, man.
No
I
doubt.
wish it was a documentary.
It was funny because when that movie first came out and people were like, oh, it's such a good movie and fun, and I was like, they can't happen and blah. And now, like, I've read about like the people who had like that Tommy John surgery where they replaced the ligament in your elbow.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're like, these guys actually do have a faster fastball afterwards because the ligaments are tighter after the surgery because they, they tighten that up a little bit. So they can get a little more snap on a fastball. And I was like, okay, but they're still not hitting 120 miles an hour, so I'm good.
Yeah, I know.
As a 10-year-old.
Yeah, as a 10-year-old, yeah. Oh, man.
What a great movie. What a just let's say screw it to all logic and let's just make this movie. Because little kids would love to play for the Chicago Cubs. It would be so thrilling for them.
It'd be my luck, though. I'd still, I'd be able to throw 120, and I'd end up on a team that still wasn't a winner somehow. I don't know. Even with me throwing 120, I don't know.
That would be the way it would work.
It would, too,
Yeah.
So, what can you do?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so you're in Chicago now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Judging by your whatnot. So, are you a hockey fan at all? Right?
A little bit.
A little bit.
I'm more of a baseball fan.
Okay. I was going to ask if you lean. Are you a Blackhawks or a Red Wings guy because of the two places you've lived?
I've watched a lot of Blackhawks and I've rooted for them when they're not against the Red Wings.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, when you move someplace new, it's really hard to not be immersed in the culture of whatever sports teams.
Sure. Yeah.
But there's some sort of weird connection that no matter what, I will always root for the teams that I rooted for as a little kid, even though it's just a mascot and a color scheme and a name,
right?
And all the players change, and it's just a very strange thing to have such a allegiance to.
Yeah,
just something familiar. That's it.
Yep.
You know?
So you're a baseball. Are you a Cubs fan? Or are you a White Sox guy? Or are you?
No, I'm a Cubs fan.
All right. So
National League, and then of course Tigers, American League.
Right. I was going to say
the rookie of your love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All makes sense now.
Yeah. Guys, let's just can I remake Rookie of the Year as a like 250-page graphic novel?
Yeah, I think you should actually.
Absolutely.
At this point, he falls down on a purse. You see, and then he's able to steal purses from muggers.
What a good idea!
Yeah. You put the Kickstarter up, and people are like, "You only get money because people are like, we'll pay you to not make this." How about that?
Please don't make this.
Mugger of the Year? Huh? No. All right.
Oh boy, it's gonna be good.
Mugger of the Year.
That's just awful. Oh, yeah.
Sounds like a horrible idea that I would love to read.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna work on it. I'm working on it right now. The idea factory is already spinning, guys.
We'll just see this down the road in, a while, and a tear will just roll down our eye out of just pride,
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I'll call Tony. I'll be like, he's doing it, man. He's doing it.
He did it. He actually did it.
Oh, boy. So
cool. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I think that was it. I just mainly wanted to talk to you about the other stuff and kind of, a couple random points for the moment. But
sure.
Tony, you got anything else? Or?
No, I'm good. I'm good. This is a fun conversation.
Yeah.
I did like a little peek behiin the Kickstarter.
Oh, we haven't talked about dragons. I mean, we could.
Oh, shit. We didn't talk about dragons.
I don't really have much to say about dragons. They kind of speak for themselves, I think.
Fair enough.
They're pretty awesome.
Yeah. They are.
All right.
Did you play Dungeons and Dragons?
Not very much. Briefly, I have this problem that when I play games, I think it's funny to try and break the game by doing the things I'm not supposed to do.
Right.
I can see that.
So
it.
so I've a couple times I've tried to play. I've frustrated people, and then the game has ended very abruptly.
Right.
Because I still want to try and kill the friendly ally old man who's telling me about the dungeon.
I was kind of wondering because you're, from what I've read, obviously you have a pretty great imagination.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun to kill that old man.
I mean, in the past, we've spent an hour and a half or so in a bar fight and about 30 seconds killing the big boss that the DM wanted us to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I can see that.
That makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's enough dragon talk.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. That was good. Good dragon talk. We didn't even mention dragons, but that was good.
Right.
Just in a relationship to dungeons.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we'll put the Kickstarter link in the show notes and such.
Clearly, you need our bump.
Right.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But where's the best place to for people to follow you, stalk you, whatever they'd like to do? Send you cookies.
My favorite is Instagram in terms of trying to curate all my posts either have to be funny to me or have to have some sort of artistic merit. Okay. I really love Instagram. So I'm on there at Ryan Browne Art. And Brown has an E on the end.
Right.
Brownie. Soule.
Charles Soule's friend, Ryan Browne. Yeah. Right.
And then you can Twitter at Ryan Browne Art as well. So that's it. Yeah. Those are the best places to find out what I'm doing with my life all the time.
All right. Excellent.
Can people tag you in Rookie of the Year posts?
Yeah, man. I'm going to watch that movie again.
If it's on Netflix, I might do that too.
I don't think it's going to hold up, guys.
I don't think it's going to be
very believable.
I'm not sure I need to see it again. We used to throw it in the at the video store all the time, so because it was a safe movie and everybody seems to love it.
Yeah, except he says funky butt loving several times.
Yeah, but they used to throw Big and Goonies in, and there's actual cussing in those. So.
Yeah, but funky butt loving, that's talking about anal sex, right?
Whoa,
in a children's movie,
yeah.
Right?
It does seem like it, doesn't it?
What else are they talking about? And why are they saying that?
That's a good question. That's actually the bigger question.
That is a valid point.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Well, we've got this wonderful family film, but no, all the kids across America are going to go home and exclaim "funky butt lovin'" all the time.
Well, it's a kid.
That just
it's a
goes. Your
kid's
mom's
movie.
not into that.
Yeah.
Sorry, son. There's no funky butt lovin' in this house.
Yeah. Well, it's a kids movie. You got to have some sort of a catchphrase in it.
I know.
So
but
funky
it's
butt
so
lovin'.
inappropriate.
Yeah.
All right, we should end this before I say something bad.
All right.
Fair enough.
I guess. So, anyway, well, thanks for joining us. This was a lot of fun. So
Sure.
I'm glad we finally got to get this sorted out. So good luck with, you've already hit your goal, but good luck with anything further with the blast furnace, and I can't wait to read it. So
Yeah, awesome. I hope you guys like it. It's really dumb.
Perfect.
right up our alley.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to Mugger year, though.
Right.
Oh, man. All right, I'm working on it now.
All right. All right. Thanks, Ryan.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right.
That was fun.
That was fun. Yeah.
Are you still recording? Should we wrap this up?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I am.
live?
Oh, my goodness, I am. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we might as well. There's no point in cutting it here. We'll just have that awkward bit where I'm like, "Durr."
Yeah, we have awkwardness in our show all the time.
Right.
It's Kickstarter. Just search Blast Furnace on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
You'll be able to find it. Now, there'll be a handy link on our website that I'll put on.
Right.
Because,
I'll get
it's
the
what they
link.
do.
I'll get the link up for the Gorillas and Comics, and then I'll also put Ryan's links to his Instagram and the Twitters on there.
Beauty.
So yeah, good dude. I honestly didn't know that God Hates Astronauts was completely done. I thought that was just the end of the arc. I didn't know.
Right,
that,
like a break kind of deal.
Yeah,
Huh?
that's what I was thinking. Because 5 issues in a trade. That's how. That's how the industry seems to work right now. So
Indeed.
So
Yeah.
I'm sad, but that's all right. There's still plenty of goodness to go back and read
Dude,
again.
Mugger the year's coming.
Mugger of the year's coming. Probably not. I wouldn't look for it.
I
don't have high
secretly
hopes.
hope there's at some point something, even a one-panel reference that's just Mugger the year.
I would love that so much if something just showed up.
Yeah.
But,
That would really make my... I mean, I don't expect it, but if
no,
it did
yeah,
happen,
it'd be
that would be
awesome.
hilarious.
Yeah. And, and we learned that it's, Charles Soule, not Soule, not Soule, it's Soule. So we'll have to... I'll have to start correcting anybody I hear saying it improperly.
Yes.
Including myself.
There you go.
Yeah. So I guess that's all we got, right? Do we have anything
That's all we
else?
got.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time. Take it away, Annalise.
Enthusiast this.